I date both men and women and people who are trans. And I mean, that's pretty much the short definition of why I identify as queer. Though, I mean, I came out as lesbian and then I came out as trans, and I think my family thinks that I'm straight now. And so I can only imagine, like, if there's a day where I really have to explain. I mean, not that, like, I'm trying to keep it from him, but, like, right now it doesn't seem terribly relevant to be like, well, remember how we were comfortable and having a good time? This is my boyfriend. I don't have a boyfriend, but if I had one, I can imagine, like, having to tell my parents that and having them, like, yet again I mean, I don't know. I mean, is there a point where you're just like, okay, whatever, we've just given up, we don't know. All of the things that I've been through around, like, figuring out my gender have had a huge importance to how I understand myself sexually. I feel like my attraction to men and women is different, because of hormones. Not just because of, like, hormones do something like magic inside me, but, like, I feel different about myself. Like, I look different, I walk around differently, people see me differently. I mean, like, how would that not affect, like, my, like, sexual life? Like, it's, you know, it's all connected. You know, I might think, well, you know, this is how I feel about women, this is how I feel about men, and then meet somebody who I'm like, oh, I was wrong. You know, who knew? So, on one hand, I try to be open to that, on the other hand, I can't anticipate what's gonna happen. I sort of felt like being gay and lesbian was, like, a good thing. And actually, it was, you know, becoming trans and being in a relationship with a woman, I definitely struggled with, like, feeling like, oh, I don't look queer anymore. And that had been an important part of my life, was actually looking queer and having people recognize that difference. And not just, like, having, like, outsiders, like the straight outsiders notice that difference, but also, like, being part of a community that recognized me. And instead, like, going to these lesbian bars, and, like, certainly, like, I don't want to, like, portray these lesbian bars like these dens of women who are like, a man in our space, because, like, I obviously walked in and they were like, oh, there's a trans guy. Like, I mean, not everybody thought that, but that, I mean, it was a pretty open place. But it was definitely, I didn't feel a part of it in the same way. For me, being trans is more than just being typically gendered or living my life as if I was born male. Part of it is that, like, I get to acknowledge my whole life by identifying as queer. Not the sense that I'm sort of, like, really a woman, you know, now I live as a man, but, like, a sense that, like, I have this long history, and actually that whole history is involved when I have a relationship with somebody.